You might want to put down that glass of wine for this next story, or hold on to it lest you spill a drop. That's because a new report out today says California's wine supply has dropped 24% compared to the year before. It's the lowest haul in nearly 30 years. To help explain why, we turn to CBS's Elizabeth Cook for tonight's interview. Elizabeth, let's start. What does this report say more broadly?
Well, John, here in California, we make 80% of the country's wine. And today's report further underlines the trouble that the industry is in right now. According to the report, the amount of grapes literally crushed to make wine is the lowest it's been in 2 decades, down 24% over just last year. Grapes crushed for red wines fell nearly 26%, and grapes crushed for white wines are down 17%. Now, despite this decline, John, winemakers still generated a lot of money, $88 billion alone, according to a 2022 study that we found.
What caused or what started this decline?
Well, a couple issues. The wine industry overplanted. They just have too many fields. But then tastes have changed. Younger generations are not drinking as much as the baby boomers. And add to that, the health concerns. Last year, the World Health Organization, you probably remember, dealt a huge blow when it reported that any amount of alcohol is unsafe for your health.
And we saw a shocking sight when you reported that how grape growers are actually ripping up the vineyards as a result of the downturn in the wine industry. What's behind that?
It was heartbreaking to see, John. 85,000 acres have been pulled up in California alone just in the last 3 years. And there's a recommendation to get rid of yet another 33,000 acres. That's 6% of the vineyards left in California. The analysts say they need to go in order for the industry here to be viable.
And why is that? In order to create less wine, which basically creates scarcity because there are fewer people buying it, and that keeps the market going and keeps the prices high?
Exactly. They overplanted. There's too much supply, and so they need to do something to go against what they already have.
And tell me about tariffs and whether we talk about those so much. How would those affect the wine industry?
Well, California exports about 95% of the nation's wine. That's about $55 billion worth of wine. So retaliatory tariffs from countries hitting back at the U.S. could put a dent in the amount of money that the wine industry can expect to make.
And is the wine industry, like you mentioned, the World Health Organization saying that alcohol is unsafe, is the wine industry collectively joining together to try to send some other kind of message to help with that difficult blow to their marketing?
Well, the wine industry has some very powerful lobbyists, and they say that there are holes in that World Health Organization study. And so they're trying to look at that study again to perhaps highlight some of the health benefits that they say are in wine.
And finally, Elizabeth, wine grapes are different than the grapes we eat. But I mean, can they ship their extra grapes to those of us who might just want to eat them rather than drink them?
Well, unfortunately, wine grapes are a little bit different than, say, the grapes used to make raisins. There are seeds in them. They're also not used to make grape juice. So, frankly, the only group that really wants them now as they die on the vines is the birds.